Hello, welcome back to the channel. It's Megan here, the Healing Foods Coach. It is Sunday, the 24th of November. Wow. So for those of you who are American, I know you've got your Thanksgiving coming up this week. Happy early Thanksgiving. And those of you who are just looking forward to Black Friday sales, all the best as you hunt out for those bargains. So today's topic is if eating healthy, meaning a low carb or no carb diet that has removed refined sugars and processed seed oils. Okay. If it feels like following that way of eating is an uphill battle, and we all have those moments, I'm hoping that these suggestions that I offer to you may be beneficial. These are things that I've realized, I've learned, I've put into practice, and they've helped me. So I just wanted to share this with you. So first of all, let me say, those of you who have come to carnivore while still working full time, particularly in an office environment, hats off to you, because it is really difficult, especially if you're the only person who's eating a low carb, no carb way of eating out of the entire office. Why do I say that? Well, you see, when I became a carnivore just over 4 years ago, it was COVID, we were in lockdown, we were at home. And so I could control the foods that came into my house, that I surrounded myself with, and that I chose to prepare. So for me, not that the transition was any easier, but sticking to it was a lot easier because I didn't have all of the other influence of people who are still enjoying their sugary drinks, their sweets, their chocolate, their baked goods, and things like pizza or pretzels. I wasn't surrounded by that. So it was far easier for me. Getting back into work these last 2 weeks has been phenomenal, and I've loved it, learning all about different kinds of insurance, what products we offer where I happen to work, getting to meet new people. It's been really amazing, and I'm so glad. This job was God was looking out for me, because this job is the perfect job for my personality. It's a 10-minute walk from home. I'm working with great people. It's, as I've shared in other videos, it's very casual, laid back. So you can wear jeans and a t-shirt as long as, they're clean. They're not full of rips and holes, and there's nothing offensive on them. So to me, that's a win-win, right? However, the thing I forgot about was that in most offices, and especially in call centers, there's always all sorts of biscuits and sweets and chocolate and snacky things. The managers almost every day bring in little mini bags of pretzels or popcorn or potato chips. Once a week they do pizza lunches for their team, which sounds okay. To lots of people that sounds amazing, but for someone who is trying to cut out carbs or reduce carbs, who's trying to avoid all the processed junk, who's trying to stay away from refined sugar and seed oils, it is a challenge. Now, I'm lucky because if I had to start carnivore today, I know I would find the getting started part really hard. I heard some of my new colleagues saying to each other, "Oh, just have a muffin. It's a Friday. Oh, it's just one donut. What's it going to hurt? Oh, it's a little chocolate. It's 3 o'clock. Help yourself." Now, they're trying to be kind and thoughtful, and so the heart behind it is lovely. But if you're trying to avoid those things, whether you actually have weight to lose, as I did, whether you have medical issues, there's a gentleman in the office. I haven't met him directly, but I've seen him. He's a type 1 diabetic, and so having a little bit of sugar on hand, if he hasn't quite gotten his insulin injection right that day, that could be life-saving for him. But for the rest of us, not so much. And how do you fight against that without being mean, without being rude? Because as much as I know that cutting those things out can be so amazing and beneficial to everybody, they're entitled to eat whatever they want, whatever they enjoy, whether it's good for them or not, right? Most people don't want to know the truth about how bad sugar is for them. They would rather eat it and enjoy it, and at some point in their lives, they then have to take medication. They would rather do that. Most of us would. I know that many of us in this space have been the ones who have reached a point where they had to go on medication because that was the way they thought. And now they're trying to reverse all of the damage and come off the medication. But most of the people I work with are, between the ages of 21 and 30, most of them. So they're a fair bit younger than me. And overall, if they're working out regularly, if they're, being active and fit a lot of the time, they can probably get away with eating the junk that they do for a while because it's not going to catch up right away. And it's not my place in the work environment to preach to them and tell them, no, don't eat that sugar. It's horrible for you. What are you doing? It's not for me to say. I know what works for me. And if people ever want to ask me about what I do and why I eat the way I do, I will be happy to share, but it's not for me to push that in their face. Just as I would not be happy if someone, say, was vegan and they're pushing that in my face as I sit and eat one of my burger patties from home at my lunch break. Which brings me to the next part of this topic, which is, so we have all these people who think they're doing really nice things. They're trying to encourage their team. They want to support them and provide a nice, sweet, some baked good dessert because that's the mindset of the world. We are the few who realize that food should not be a punishment or a reward. Most people still look at it as a way of encouraging others. And that I don't think is going to go away anytime soon. So you have managers who want to do something nice for the team. They bring in a couple of tins of biscuits, or they bring in several boxes of custard donuts, or whatever it is. Okay. Or they treat, if their team does really well performance-wise, they order in Domino's pizza for the whole team, for all 8 of them, whatever, right? And so they're doing it out of a generosity, out of a goodness of their heart, which is wonderful. So you don't want to upset them. You don't want to make them angry. You want to get along with everybody because that's how it should be. But one of the things I really had to learn, because again, I hadn't done this for 8 years, was be prepared. So I've thought for sure, well, what am I going to bring for a packed lunch? And I even asked that question in one of my videos. And of course, one of my subscribers and supporters, and I'd like to say my friend, Juliet, and if you haven't checked out her channel, you should, suggested, well, she said what she does is she will cook up, she'll buy pre-made burger patties, and she'll cook up a whole bunch of them and then refrigerate them and then take them out throughout the week for her lunch and for her kids. And I thought, oh, that's perfect. I love burger patties. So we went to the butcher's yesterday. I was so excited. I love going to the butcher's. I've got 30 days worth of burger patties for lunches. Now, I may not have burger patties every day for lunch, but I'm covered. I've also got a whole bunch of jumbo sausages. We also keep, other things in the fridge. So the first thing, if I may, that I would suggest is make sure you eat something in the morning for your breakfast. It doesn't have to be a lot. But what I've noticed for me at least especially, and this might be for other people, but if you skip breakfast and then you get really hungry mid-morning or early lunch hour, that's fine if you're at home and you can make yourself something to eat whenever the hunger strikes. But if you're in a work environment, and particularly if you're, say, in a call center, you can't just get up and heat up your food whenever you feel like it. And also, you cannot eat, obviously they're not going to want you to eat certain foods at your desk because it might be smelly, or it might, there's a risk of spillage, right? That's why they always bring in these other processed snacks, because there's no risk of spilling soup or that type of thing, right? But you can have plans of things to bring in. So my suggestions are what you will maybe want to do Saturday or Sunday, or even on a Monday for the rest of your week, is if you tolerate dairy, buy some of your favorite cheese, cut it up into slices or cubes, put it in a little container or a seal bag. Buy some of your favorite deli meats. If you can eat things like salami or pepperoni or prosciutto, get some of those. Either keep them in the little plastic, container that they come in, or pull them out of a bigger package and put them into a Ziploc bag. There you go. There's I can't think of the word. You've got like a meat and cheese board, little mini meat and cheese board, which, you know, it's not going to spill anywhere. That can either be packed up as part of your lunch, depending on how your breaks and lunch works. You know, it's different depending on if you're admin or call centers, but you can have those at your desk. I would suggest, if you really enjoy certain deli meats that have a very strong scent, say like salami, not that you can't bring them, but I would restrict those to eat only in the canteen area of your workplace, because some people don't like the smell, and the garlic and the salami will travel. So even if it's not something that's going to spill or potentially land on your keyboard and ruin it, not everybody wants to have the smell of your salami wafting across their desk, right? So keep things like that to the lunchroom area, where, you know, people heat up their chilies or their soups or whatever they're having. Just a tip if you want to make friends and influence people at work and not make enemies. Just saying. Not that I've done it, but just pointing that out. You could also make yourself a whole bunch of hard-boiled eggs and pack those. You can have those as part of your lunch. Or if you got a 15-minute break and you've got a lunch area, sit there and eat that. Maybe bring a little pot of mayonnaise with you. Again, hard-boiled eggs can have that sulfur smell, and so for the sake of your colleagues around you, maybe don't eat those at your desk. Save those for the lunchroom or whatever sort of canteen eating area you guys have designated. Just, you know, to be considerate of others, of course. You can, now I'm not sure what's available, let's say in Canada or the States, but here in the UK, every single grocery store has meal deal options where you get like a sandwich, some kind of a snack, and a drink. And those snacks are not just chips. They can also include, well, not that I'm suggesting you get chocolate or protein bars, but Tesco, for example, has little plastic pots with 2 hard-boiled eggs inside. And you can buy that with your sandwich and drink or on their own. You can get mini chicken fillets. You can buy things like mini chicken satay skewers. They do like mini cocktail sausages, which is also amazing because you can eat those cold or hot, but those you can eat from your desk. There's no extreme smell to them, and they're quite good for snacking. So if you're prepared, that's half the battle. Other suggestions might be, if you cook up a whole bunch of bacon in advance, let it cool off, and then pack it all up in a Ziploc bag. Bacon can be eaten cold once it's cooked. And if it's extra crispy and cold, oh my gosh, it's so delicious. There's a snack, okay? Yes, you have to do a little prep work in advance, but you've got something at your desk that is good and full of saturated fats, that is satisfying, and that's going to take the edge off, and it's going to help keep you from wanting to jump over your desk divider to get the last slice of pizza or fight your colleague for the last biscuit in the tin. Okay. So that's first step. If you go to work and you're hungry, you're going to be so much more likely to go off plan and snack. And then how easy is it from that point to go, oh, well, I already had 1 cookie, might as well have 5, might as well have the donut, might as well just, I'll start again tomorrow. So what I noticed is that I had not felt any cravings for anything sugary for almost 4 years. But I tell you what, the last few days, this past week, I started to have just a little bit of a craving. I fought through it. I was prepared. I had carnivore snacks in the fridge for me to eat. I knew I had to be prepped. I made sure I ate a good sized breakfast before work. You know, absolutely. Because if I hadn't, I would have been quite easily given in. Okay, so I think that's important. I think we all need to have something for breakfast, whether that's just a couple of eggs or eggs and bacon, whether it's sausages and eggs, whether it's just sausages, whether you eat a big chunk of butter, or you do like I know there are people who put a bit of butter in with their coffee. That's fine. The fat's still there. It's still satiating. If that's what you have, and then maybe an egg, I don't know, or hard-boiled egg. Maybe you have some pre-made bacon, something like that. Anything, something that is high in saturated fats to bring your cortisol levels down, help make you satiated so you don't have this desire to eat everything that isn't nailed down. That's going to be a big help. And also, it helps feed your brain, and you need that energy for your workday to focus, to concentrate, to do what it is you're being paid to do. All right. So tips are, please eat a good breakfast that's full of good saturated fats and animal proteins. Okay. That's key. Make sure you eat something midway. If you start to feel hungry and it's not your break or your lunchtime, there isn't a whole lot you can do. But what you might want to do is find things that you can keep just tucked in your bag. Some, again, I'm not sure about there, but here you can get like the little triangle, the little mini cheese triangles. You can get mini Baby Bells. Those are amazing, by the way. If you tolerate dairy, get mini cheeses, the little triangle ones. I think they're Lactantia, the softer cheeses, or get the Baby Bells. You can actually get packets. I don't mean the processed American style cheese that you melt on a burger. I mean actual pre-sliced cheese or shredded cheese. Keep some of that at your desk if you can. When you find that you're full, obviously stick it in the fridge so it doesn't go wonky. Those are some suggestions. These are all things that may help you. What I find is, if I have a battle plan, if I've made sure to eat breakfast, if I make sure I've packed a lunch for myself. So later today, I'm going to be cooking up a bunch of burger patties so that I have the first few days of this week covered for my lunch. I just have to toss them in my Tupperware. And as I start to run low, I'll cook some more. So cook as I go. I'm going to, just sometimes you have to plan a little bit ahead, because the thing I don't want to do is to have to run out and buy something. Because as much as it's a challenge, and it is a challenge in the office, especially at this time of year, everyone's bringing in Christmas treats and chocolates and candies and whatever. That's a challenge enough. But add to the fact that oftentimes, depending on where we work, we may have only one place to go if we need to buy ourselves a lunch. And I guarantee you the options are not going to be low-carb, carnivore friendly. You may be spending a lot of money and find that once you pull everything apart, you're left with a roll or bread and nothing much in the middle. So always try to plan ahead if you can. That, I think, will be very helpful. And just keep trying to make the right choices for yourself. It's hard. It's hard because people are going to want to be kind and generous and offer you their homemade cake or their treats, whatever it is. It is actually okay to say, oh, that's very sweet of you, thank you, but I'm okay, or I'm full, but thank you anyways. They're not offended. You've been really sweet about it, and you keep carrying on, and you stick with what you brought. And that's the hard part sometimes. You don't upset people, but I would suggest that your good health is worth more than potentially upsetting someone's feelings because you don't want to try a piece of the cake they made for the whole group. They'll be fine. Not everybody wants to eat what they make. They'll be okay. All right. But yeah, prep is key. Make some of your lunch suggestions in advance so that you can refrigerate them and take them in Tupperware. Try to keep some carnivore food in the fridge at work. So sometimes it will feel like a bit of an uphill battle, but I think if you take on some of these suggestions, if you've not tried them already, hopefully you will find that as much as the uphill battle may still be there, you will actually reach the top of the hill victorious. I hope this is helpful. Thank you guys so much for all of your comments and all of your support. I will see you next week with the next video. Take care and bye for now.